Well, good evening there. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Friday Briefing, and I'm very happy that you could find time to join me this evening as we take a look at stories that are taking center stage right here in the country. And of course, apart from that, you know that Friday Briefing is very different. Your #1 unique show every Friday night. So tonight, I will be hosting a group of amazing kids. I'm talking about Young Impact. They're going to be dancing here. It's a festive season. Everything has been so serious. Let's lighten up the week a bit as we wrap it up. So they're going to be my guests tonight. They will be showing us a jig or two. But apart from that, also, Willis the Word Master is going to be joining us shortly from Kisumu City. And I can already see quite a number of people asking me, how do you pronounce this or that? Keep them coming. Hashtag, of course, is Friday Briefing. You can also tune in from 10 o'clock. We'll be having Nick Odhiambo and Shafi Weru for True Story. That's also something that is a treat from us to you. All right, so let's get this started. My name is Betty Kyalo. First, the highlights.
When the government has a good case, there is no reason whatsoever why we should not rule in its favor.
But one or two things in response. First is simply just grow a thick skin, CJ. And secondly, consult. Talk to people within the law.
Water under the bridge. Maraga and Uhuru speak of the historic election ruling.
The ministry, as today, 15th of December 2017, filed an application for the aforementioned extension.
3 million reasons to panic. Kenyans await court decision over land titles. And mass held for Francis Nyanze ahead of Tuesday burial. Welcome to Friday Briefing. Let's get this started. We do apologize that tonight we won't be having our sign language interpreter. She is feeling a bit off, but not to worry, the show goes on. Now, we start with our top story this evening, and Chief Justice David Maraga today presented the first judicial performance report since he took over the helm of the judiciary 1 year ago. In a report he termed as a progress towards a more effective judicial arm. Maraga promised radical change at the third arm of government, even as political undertones following the controversial presidential election nullification came bare in the event attended by the head of state.
I, David Kenani Maraga.
He would take up his position at the helm of the country's judiciary in October last year, sweeping into power for a man hailed for his integrity and tough stance against corruption. Now, more than a year later, the president of the judiciary would launch the annual report meant to highlight the gains made and the challenges met during his first year in office. And while Maraga promised to reduce the backlog of cases at the judiciary, the numbers may not be in his favor. By the end of the financial year 2016-2017, there were 533,350 pending cases in the judiciary, representing a 7% increase from the 499,341 cases registered the previous year. Of the over 500,000 cases still in court, 315,378 are categorized as backlog.
Due to inefficiencies in our judiciary in the past and the very litigious nature of our population, our courts are still grappling with high numbers of cases that should have been concluded long ago.
Maraga's judiciary has, however, seen a significant increase in the establishment of courts throughout the country. Since he took office, there have been 19 new High Court branches established throughout the country. Maraga says this number could have been higher had the judiciary received more funding.
In this respect, Your Excellency, we will be knocking your door and going to our Parliament to seek for funds to be able to do constructions around the country.
But perhaps the most trying time for the president of the judiciary came during and after the nullification of the presidential election of August the 8th.
Waamuzi wa mamilioni washinda waamuzi wa watu tano. Na tukimaliza na uchaguzi Hawa watu tutadeal na wao. Msijali.
Back then, an irate head of state would not hide his contempt for the man he says subverted the will of the Kenyan people.
Si Maraga na watu yake hao wakora hao wamesema ati basi hiyo uchaguzi ipotee. Si ndivyo wamesema? Sasa mimi sana sio rais mtarajiwa. Mimi ni rais ambao amekalia kiti.
After the mace has been lowered.
But all that is now water under the bridge for two men who had two of the three arms of government. Or is it?
You also ought to accept that criticism comes with the office, whether in the media, in journals, in public baraza, social media, and indeed even from me. Kenyans will say what they have to say, and most of the time it will not be flattering. However, that is democracy. And as I have learned anyway, that one or two things in response. First is simply just grow a thick skin, CJ. And secondly, consult. Talk to people within the law, but also hear the other side.
When the government has a good case, there's no reason whatsoever why we should not rule in its favor. But when the government has a bad case, or it bungles in its prosecution or defense, we should not be expected to rule in its favor.
For a judiciary which received less than 1% of the national budget, Maraga promises radical change despite the shallow pockets. Key on his agenda as he marks more than 1 year in office will be to reduce to zero the number of cases older than 5 years by the end of his first term in office, which concludes in the year 2021. Timothy Otieno, KTN News.
Over 3 million title deeds issued by the Jubilee government risk being declared illegal should the court refuse to grant the government a 6-month extension to comply with the orders issued last December. On December 19, 2006, the High Court ruled that all the title deeds issued after the 2013 were irregularly issued after the entire process sidelined the National Lands Commission. Shadrach Miti has the details.
Ahmed Lali. Shani Shukra.
On December 19, 2016, the High Court delivered a shock ruling that nullified all land title deeds issued by the Jubilee government since 2013. In his ruling, High Court Judge Joseph Onguto stated that the title deeds were irregularly processed and therefore illegal. The judge further observed that the Ministry of Lands processed lease documents in violation of the law governing land matters by ignoring the input of the National Lands Commission. But most damning was the declaration by the court that the ministry had made a mistake by processing the title deeds, yet there were no regulations in place to guide the process in accordance with the Land Registrations Act. But out of caution and perhaps considering the large number of people who had received the titles, the court issued an ultimatum of 366 days from the day of judgment for the government to rectify all the mess. And those orders are expiring on December 19th, just about 3 days from now. Lands Cabinet Secretary has sought to assure those affected that everything is under control. It is on this basis that the Minister of Lands has petitioned the court under a certificate of urgency, seeking an extension of those orders for at least 6 more months.
The progress so far made in coming up with the comprehensive regulations and rules to operationalize the land laws, it is our humble view that this demonstrates goodwill and compliance with the judgment and orders of the court, and that the efforts made should not go to waste at the last minute, but be supported by way of appealing to the court to extend the limited time of 366 days highly ordered, so as to allow the remaining process, which in our estimation cannot last for more than an additional 6 months.
But even as the government awaits the outcome of the application, it is evident that the future and relevance of those titles now rest with the judiciary. For if the court declines the prayers by the Minister of Lands, over 3 million title deeds will be declared illegal after midnight of December 19, 2017.
For me, really, it's an appeal, and I don't expect them not to extend for obvious reasons. I hope you know what I mean. You can imagine, I don't know whether you own a piece of land somewhere with a title deed. If somebody wakes up one morning and decides that title deed is illegal, how would you feel?
When in January this year, Jacob Kaimenyi responded to the ruling, he assured those affected that there was nothing to worry about since the government had been given a whole year to work on the mess. With December 19th fast approaching, the day by which the court ruled that the Minister of Lands should regularize over 3 million title deeds the government issued irregularly, it is now clear that that order shall not be effected. And even though the Minister of Lands has moved to court under certificate of urgency, requesting for the extension of that period for at least another 180 days, it is emerging that deliberate omissions were committed in the entire process. Shadrach Miti, KTN News, Nairobi.
Now, the Council of Governors has been holding elections for a new chair and deputy chair on day 2 of their conference in Kwale County. Our Francis Mtalaki has been following events there, now joins us live. Francis, good evening. Talk to us about the process. Has it concluded yet?
Well, Betty, good evening, and the process is yet to be completed here. And where I'm standing, if I can just move behind so that my cameraman Eddie can just give you a picture of what is happening here. That is the exact place where the governors are in a closed-door meeting, and we understand that there have been some lobbying that has been going on for a couple of hours here. They went for a meeting from around 5:30, now looking at 3 to 4 hours, Betty. No answer. We are yet to receive from the governors that are still inside there. But we understand that the 2 governors who are vying for the seat of the chairman of the Council of Governors, that is Salim Vuria from Kwale, as well as Josephat Nanoka from Turkana. They went in a closed-door meeting, but it seems the 2, they did not agree. So we also see, we've been able to see a couple of governors, both from the Jubilee side and NASA, trying to lobby and discuss one or two issues in terms of what is going to happen here. But the word that we are getting from the other side is that even the position of a deputy chair of Council of Governors has not yet been decided, given that it has only one participant, that is Kirinyaga Governor Anwe Guru. We're yet to see them coming out so that they can be able to address to us and tell us who is the next chair of Council of Governors. Is it Josephat Nanok or the Kwale County Governor, who is Salim Vuria? But also it is important, given that tomorrow the Deputy President will be here to officially close this induction. And so the leadership that is going to be elected here will be able to work in closely with the national government beginning tomorrow, where the Deputy President will be here officially closing this 4-day induction that has been happening here in Kwale County. Betty.
All right, Francis, reporting from Kwale County. He's going to be keeping us updated on who's going to emerge victorious on this. Moving forward, after the uproar over some of the people awarded the head of state commendation on Jamhuri Day, Kilifi North Member of Parliament Owen Bayer says he will table a bill to amend the National Honours Act to provide for a watertight procedure for conferring national honours in Kenya. The National Honours Act came into force in January 2014 and was meant to set clear criteria for identifying those to be honoured, but developments in the last 2 years have raised questions.
And real deserving Kenyans were denied the opportunity to be honoured by the president. Now, what I have done is to compile those issues, and I'm presenting amendments to the National Honours Act in Parliament, and I've asked the legal team to draft 3 key amendments. One, every time a selection is done, the list must go through public participation as enshrined in the Constitution, because the Constitution says everything must go through public participation. And the best places to take this to public participation is the county assemblies. And therefore, they are recommended by their county assemblies that they are deserving of a national honor and a presidential award. 2, after all these things have been done, these things need to come to the National Assembly for adoption at the National Assembly. This is the Kenyan list and therefore it is an honorable list that has been approved by the Honorable House. And therefore the President will have more confidence giving these people the awards because actually it has gone through the processes that make it Kenyan, representative, and that people have participated in selecting the people that really deserve that.
All right, so we want to take a short commercial break here on Friday Briefing, but don't go away. We are coming back shortly to continue with our coverage. Plus, also, our Friday guests are already here in studio. You don't want to miss them. They will definitely leave you with a very big smile on your face. They will be joining me on set shortly. But also remember that Will is the word master is coming in. I'm seeing quite a number of tweets of questions that are already coming in. Paulo Munguti, you are asking, how do we pronounce a word that I know as paradigm? You're watching from Eldoret. I think I know until Willis the word master tells you otherwise. So I'm definitely going to be asking him that question and so much more. Tweet me and text me. 22155 is the number. And you can also hashtag Friday Briefing. Tweet me also. I'll be looking at your tweets here on Friday Briefing. Let's take a break. We're coming back in a few minutes.